So, hey everyone, how are you? So, I'm starting grade 7 nutrition in plants. So, this is basically the continuation of chapter which I've learned in 6th grade. We had learned before that carbohydrates, fats, proteins, and vitamins are all components of food. These components of food are called nutrients and are necessary for our body. So, whatever food we eat, for example, bread, fish, chicken, meat, then salt, sugar, all of these contain, like some nutrients which are good for our body, such as fats, like which are good for certain areas, like certain fields of body, like or proteins for muscle building, vitamins and minerals for something else, carbohydrates for one thing, like that. These are called nutrients. All living organisms require food. Plants can synthesize food for themselves, but animals, including humans, cannot. So, like every living organism, a living organism thing which breathes, respires, and reproduces. So they all require food to carry out these processes. Plants can make their own food through the process of dash. It is photosynthesis. So, but we humans cannot. Have you seen anyone make their own food? No. We either eat, like according to our diet, we eat it from either plants or animals. So, thus humans, so we indirectly or directly depend on plants. Is this, yeah, depend on plants. Okay, now next is, so the next topic is mode of nutrition in plants. So, 1 minute. Yeah, mode of nutrition in plants. Oh, why? What is happening here? Yeah, mode of nutrition in plants. So this basically, like it tells us how um, um, plants are the only organisms that can prepare food and by water. So the raw materials are present in the surroundings. The nutrients enable living organisms to build their bodies, to grow, to repair damaged parts of their bodies, and provide the energy to carry out life processes. So, in all the living organisms, plants are the only ones which can prepare food by themselves through the process of photosynthesis by using water, carbon dioxide, and minerals. Um, they make food using the raw materials. Raw materials means which not have been altered, or there is no change in them. They are in their base form. The nutrients enable living organisms to build their bodies, to grow, to repair damaged parts of their bodies, to provide damaged part of their bodies, and to provide them energy to carry out life processes. So this so the nutrients which they receive help them to build it, or grow their body, to reproduce, and to repair. Like if any stem of a plant gets cut, or if we get any bruises, not let's not take humans for now. So like if you have a plant in your home, ask your parents and cut a small part of a stem, and later water it, like provide it with nutrients, water it properly, you'll see the stem grows back. So they use nutrition from the surroundings or the raw materials to um, to carry out life processes, to carry out these type of life processes. Nutrition is the uh, mo- mode of taking food by an organism and its utilization by the body. The mode of nutrition which uh, organisms make food themselves is called autotrophic. So basically, this para tells us that nutrition is a mode through which organisms take food into themselves and utilize them. So nutrition is like a mode, like if you give plant sufficient water, sunlight, oxygen, air, they take it in. Those are the nutrients and utilize them by growing and providing us with, uh, depending on the plant, they can either provide us with fruits, um, flowers, and etc. And the mode of nutrition in which make themselves is called, so the plants make food by themselves, so they don't depend on this. They make food through the process of photosynthesis. So this type of uh, this this type of the process through which they make food is um, the mode of nutrition. So I'll just break it down properly. So it basically tells that plants can make food by themselves through the process of photosynthesis, due to which they are called due to this, the mode through which they make their food themselves from a simple substance is called autotrophic. Auto is self and trophos is nourishment. Therefore, plants are called autotrophs. Due to plants making food by themselves through the mode of autotrophic, uh, they are also called autotrophs. Animals and other taken food prepared by plants, so they are called heterotrophs. So, uh, so what? No. So like we, like humans, animals, and all other living beings except plants, depend on plants and plants for food. So therefore we are dependent on them indirectly or indirectly, so we are called heterotrophs. So we depend on them for our daily food need. Now we may ask whether factories of plants are located, whether food is made in all parts of a plant or only certain parts, how do plants obtain the raw materials from the surroundings, how do they transport it. So this basically tells us that this para basically questions like um, tells us that, like asks us so they basically are asking the main doubts which we also get while reading this, such as um, whether food is made in all parts of a plant or on certain all parts, how do plants obtain the raw materials from the surroundings, how do they transport them to the food factories to plants. So these are the basic doubts we get, which we will get on later. Photosynthesis, food making process in plants. Leaves are the food factories of plants. Therefore, all the raw material must reach the leaf. Water and minerals present in the soil are absorbed by the roots and transported to the leaves. Carbon dioxide from air is taken in through the tiny pores on the surface of leaves. These pores are also called surrounded by guard cells. Such pores are called stomata. So, leaves. So basically, for whatever food and nutrition which plant gets, all goes to the leaves. All goes to the leaves. Water and minerals present. So the water and minerals which you provide to the soil, such as manure or water, they like move through the move through the soil, move through the roots, and go to the leaves. Carbon dioxide, which plants use for photosynthesis, which is taken by the leaves through the tiny openings or pores called as are called as stomata. These are the guard cells which take in carbon dioxide. You may have seen buildings are made of bricks. Similarly, the bodies of living organisms are made by tiny units called cells. Cells can be seen only under the microscope. Some organisms are made of only one cell. The cell is enclosed by a thin outer boundary called the cell membrane. Most cells have a distinct centrally located spherical structure called the nucleus. The nucleus is surrounded by a jelly-like substance called cytoplasm. So, have you guys seen, have you guys ever played Lego? If you have, you might have seen the small, small building, like you use those blocks. So, like one other. So, if this is a block, you build a building or something through that, right? Exactly like that. Our body is also made up of small bricks, which is sorry, not bricks, but uh, small tiny unit known as cells. So cells are basically the structural unit of life. Because without cells, no life processes can go around. but they are also divided in many parts. Single cellular or multicellular, about which you will be learning in your upcoming chapters. So, like, have you ever seen cricket ground, like, if where audience sit, like at the end, like in a start there will be a boundary kind of thing. Yeah, same way like that. In the cells also there are boundary, like, can you see this black color? Yeah, black color lines, they are the boundary, they are not a cell membrane. And most cells have a so in the center of the cells there is a part called nucleus, which uh, helps in the moving and going of cells. Nucleus is surrounded by a jelly-like structure called cytoplasm. So, so to protect the nucleus, cytoplasm is kept here. So, sorry, cytoplasm is there. It's sort of a jelly-like structure which helps in protecting it. The leaves have a green. Sorry. Uh, Water and minerals are transported uh, to the leaves by vessels which run like pipes throughout the root. The stem and the branches and the leaves, they form a continuous path or passage for the nutrients to the called vessels. We learn about, okay. So basically, the water minerals, which, like I told before, are taken in by the plants and go through the. So for example, don't care about the drawing. Imagine this is a yeah. Imagine this is a plant. So imagine this is a plant. This is the pot. So plant. I'm just drawing for the time sake. I'm just drawing two. So there will be leaves here, 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 and here. So if I if you let's take that this whole thing is filled with mud or soil. So now if I or you pour water in here, it goes through here, and it water and minerals, these both go through the roots and stem and reach the leaves. So they go to the leaves. The path through which they travel, like from from this stem to this leaf, like here and all, the path through which they travel is called vessels. Got it? By the way, if you have any doubt, you can ask me in the comments. I'll reply to them surely. So they are also called vessels. The leaves have a green pigment called chlorophyll. It helps to capture the energy of the sunlight. This energy is used to prepare food from carbon dioxide and water. Since the synthesis of food occurs in the presence of sunlight, it is called photosynthesis. So, have you ever seen leaves? So, if you have a tree around you, or if you're sitting in a room, you I'm sure you will have a window, or go out of your home. Look at the trees around you. You will mostly see all the leaves are mostly green color. Some of them will be not, but the leaves which are green are have that color due to a uh, uh, pigment called chlorophyll. So this chlorophyll is not only for color, but it also helps to capture the uh, which is a main one of the main uh, one of the main one of the main things required for the process of photosynthesis. Then they use, so the sunlight which they capture, they use it to prepare food from carbon dioxide and water. Since the synthesis of food occurs in the presence of sunlight, it is called photosynthesis. So like this process of plants making their own food as it occurs in the presence of sunlight. So if with the presence of sunlight, is called photosynthesis, where photo means light, synthesis means to combine. So photosynthesis basically means light to combine. So we find that chlorophyll Sunlight and carbon dioxide or water are necessary to carry out the process of photosynthesis. It is a unique process on Earth. The solar energy is captured by the leaves and stored in the plant in the form of food. Thus, sun is the ultimate source of energy for all living organisms. So we all know it. So we have learned about chlorophyll right now. So with all these substances such as chlorophyll, sorry, all the substances such as chlorophyll, sunlight, and carbon dioxide, water, all these four materials, they are really important and necessary to carry out the process of photosynthesis. It is a unique process on Earth. Means this process you cannot see it anywhere else except plants. Uh, the solar energy which the leaves capture are stored in the plant as a form of food. So if they take in energy like the sunlight, the chlorophyll, like the leaves take in, they store it as food. So which basically tells us that sun is the ultimate source of energy for all living organisms. Yeah, that's true, because we also need sun to survive. Even though sun doesn't have like the vitamin D they tell, it is quite important for us, because with the sun the plants grow, and we are the ones to, us and the animals are the ones to eat those plants. So basically sun is the only thing which is keeping us alive. Can you imagine, like, in the absence of photosynthesis, there would not be any food. The survival of almost all living organisms depends on the food. Besides the oxygen, yeah. So that's what I told. Indirectly, or depends on the food made by plants. So if there was no photosynthesis or no sun, we would not live, or the plants would not grow. Besides oxygen, besides oxygen, we have everything else. Besides leaves, photos photosynthesis photosynthesis takes place in other green parts of the plants. Besides photosynthesis also plays other places of the plants. In green stems and green branches, the desert plants have scale or spine like leaves which release slow. These plants have green stems which carry out. So as you can see in this picture, they're showing how photosynthesis process of photosynthesis goes through. So here the sun, it gives its rays, sorry, the solar energy is trapped by the leaves, chlorophyll in leaves. So carbon dioxide and oxygen also go within. So water and minerals come from here, they transport it here it stores, the leaves store the sunlight as they store it as in here the leaves store them as food. So they store them as food over here. Okay, now uh, all of living organisms, all living organisms is produced. Sorry, let me just continue from there. Besides survival of all living organisms is produced during the photosynthesis. In the absence of photosynthesis, life would be impossible on Earth. See, that's like the point told before. During photosynthesis, uh, the chlorophyll containing cells during photosynthesis, chlorophyll containing cells of leaves in the presence of sunlight. Yeah, that's the same what photosynthesis is. So the formula for photosynthesis goes like carbon dioxide plus water in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll give carbohydrates plus oxygen. So this is very important. This is really important. This formula is really important. I'm 100% sure they will ask in exam. Uh, During the process, oxygen is released. The presence of starch in leaves indicate the occurrence of photosynthesis. Starch is also a carbohydrate. So when oxygen is released, when oxygen is released from plants when they take carbon dioxide, the presence of, like, there is a bit of starch present in leaves which indicate the occurrence of, so which tells us there is a bit of starch present in the leaves, which tells us that the process of photosynthesis has happened. As we all know that, uh, have you all like anyone has seen, have you ever washed potatoes or rice? You see the white color, like when you wash rice you see the white, the water becomes white, the white part is called starch. And it is very important for the growth of a plant. Perform iodine test with the yeah, to keep two potted plants in the same kind of, guys, you have to read this because this is the activity you have to perform in home. So read this activity and perform. Yeah, you have to perform this activity at home. So the leaves other thing green also have chlorophyll, the large amount of red. Okay, so like except there are many plants which not only have green but leaves in the color of red, green, blue, and purple. Like not blue, sorry, green, yellow, and other colors which can be shade of green. So in those plants, the pigment, like there is chlorophyll present, but they will not be able to do photosynthesis as proper as plants which have full green leaves. So in these plants, instead of green, red pigments such as red and brown uh, are quite good known, are quite well known. Sorry, are quite more in the present in the amount. Synthesis of plant food other than carbohydrates. You have just learned the plant synthesize carbohydrates through the process of photosynthesis. Uh, photosynthesis. The carbohydrates are made from carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. These are used to synthesize other components of food such as proteins and fats. But proteins are nitrogenous substances which contain nitrogen. From where do plants obtain nitrogen? So we just now learned that carbohydrates. Wait, we just now learned that. Uh, sorry, we just now learned that plants synthesize carbohydrates through the process of photosynthesis. So we all know that plants can synthesize carbohydrates. So the carbohydrates which are already present in them, such as starch, they can synthesize them through photosynthesis. Carbohydrates are made of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. So the name, this, you know, the name quite gives it away, right? It's made up of hydrogen, carbon, and oxygen. These are used to synthesize other components of food, such as proteins and fats. But proteins are nitrogenous substances which contain nitrogen. From where do plants obtain this nitrogen? Mm, Okay, so these carbohydrates, these are used to synthesize other components of food such as proteins and fats. But proteins are nitrogenous substances which contain nitrogen. So proteins are basically substances which contain nitrogen. From where do plants obtain nitrogen? So um, nitrogen is also very important part of a plant to grow. So the question here is how do they obtain it? This might be a question, like they might give in your exam as application based. So be careful. Recall the nitrogen present in the abundance in gaseous form in the air. However, plants cannot absorb nitrogen in form. Soil has certain bacteria that convert gaseous nitrogen into usable form and release it into the soil. These are absorbed by the plants and along with the water. Also, you might have seen farmers adding soil fertilizers rich in nitrogen to the soil. In this way, the plants fulfill their requirements of nitrogen along with the other constituents. Plants can synthesize proteins and vitamins. So we all know that, we all might have learnt in our social studies. We were social studies or science that air is a mixture of uh, nitrogen, oxygen, and many other substances. And we all know that nitrogen is present abundantly around us. So due to which plants can take it, but plants cannot take the atmospheric form. So they have few bacteria in the soil known as nitrogen. Sorry, they also have few bacteria in the soil which convert this atmospheric nitrogen to uh, gaseous. To gaseous form of nitrogen which can be used by them. These are absorbed by the plants along with the water. So when we pour water on them, This nitrogen will be present in the roots, but when we pour water, they go into the water and uh, move through the soil. So if I'll show you, just a second. Yeah, so for example, take this as a pot and this as a plant. So here are the leaves. I'm telling again, don't care about the drawing. So one, two leaves, the plant. So the plant. So the roots of the plant. So there are a few bacteria present here which take the atmospheric, like the usable form of nitrogen and convert it into usable forms by themselves. Until then they just stay here, but once we pour water, it goes in with the water and starts moving upwards toward the leaf. It transports to the vessels present in the stem and the leaves, and goes to the leaves, which help them again in growing along. So so you might have, if you have ever gone to a farm, you might have seen, or you might have seen your parents you know adding fertilizers or manure to your plants. So these are they are rich in nitrogen, which, as just now mentioned, are really good for the growth of plant. uh, by adding this to the soil, plants convert the atmospheric nitrogen into usable, and then again this process goes over and over again. Plants can synthesize proteins and vitamins. So plants can, to the process of photosynthesis, they can synthesize proteins and vitamins. So other modes of nutrition in other modes of nutrition in plants. There are some plants which do not have chlorophyll. They cannot synthesize food. Uh, they cannot synthesize food. How do they survive? How do they survive? And from where do they derive nutrition? Like humans and animals, uh, such plants depend on the food produced by other plants. So when plants do not have chlorophyll to synthesize uh, and to do photosynthesis, they receive nutrients. They act like humans, so they become dependent on other plants to get their nutrition requirement. To get their nutrition requirement. Sorry, to get their nutrition requirement. So these plants they use the heterotrophic mode of nutrition. As I told, it is the same way of it is the same mode of nutrition which we use to get our daily food needs. Then look at figure 1.5. Wait, do you see a yellow wiry branch twining around? So as you can see, this yellow stuff around the tree. So they are plants which do not have chlorophyll, and are using and are sucking the nutrients from the other plant for for getting their nutrition. So as you can see, the yellow, this is called the amarbel or cuscuta. This plant is known as cuscuta or amarbel. Sorry, this plant is it does not have chlorophyll. It derivates food from the, so it does not have chlorophyll. So what it does, it climbs on a tree or a plant which already has nutrients, and takes it from it. Which has ready-made nutrients, so it sucks the nutrients from the plants and takes it in. The plant from which they take in the nutrients is called a host. Since it deprives most of the valuable nutrients from the host, here which are directed downwards, when an insect lands, 1 minute, since it deprives the host on the value of here which nutrients here which are directed downwards when an insect lands on the pitcher. The lid closes. The insect trapped in the insect gets trapped and gets entangled into the hair. The lid closes and the insect is trapped. So this is after this. There's another type of plants which lack nutrients. So which you know eat insects. So to complete the nutrition daily nutrition nutrition track. So plants such as pitchers. Pitcher is over here and showing lid. So sorry, I'm really sorry. It deprives on the nutrients. Cuscuta is called a parasite. Oh, I'm really sorry. I thought it continued there. It's called the parasite. Are we and other animals also think as parasites? You should think about it. Yeah, what do you think about it? Please tell in the comments. Have you seen and heard of plants can eat animals? There are few plants which trap insects and digest them. Is it not amazing? Such plants. So you can see the pitcher plant over here. So what it has hair kind of structure which goes down. So when an insect goes in it, it closes. So this closes and the hair traps them in. So which later as the insect has in nitrogen, it completes its nitrogen requirement, daily nitrogen requirement. So when the insect is trapped, the insect is digested by the so when it traps, the plant releases its digestive juices, it secretes it, and its nutrients are absorbed. Such plant eating animals are called insectivorous plants. So these type of plants which eat other insects to complete the nutrition intake are called as insectivorous plants. Is it saprophytes? You might have seen packets of mushrooms sold in vegetable market. You might have also seen patchy umbrella growing in soils or rotting wood during the rain. Let us find out. So have you ever eaten mushrooms? Or you might have seen like when bread, the when some when you take a bread piece, you know make it wet and keep it in a box and leave it. After a few days you will start seeing green patches like this, which are called as algae or fungi. They're called as fungi. You might have seen many types of mushrooms growing in plants. Mushrooms in the market, growing in being sold in the market. These organisms are called fungi. So they are called fungi. They have different mode of nutrition. They absorb the nutrient from the bread. This mode of nutrition in which plants take in nutrition from the dead and decaying matters is called saprophytes. So how do you think these grow? It is not like they grow normally however they want. Like they can't just grow normally. They need any source to grow. So if they see, like, they grow mostly over dead and decaying matter. So mushrooms, they take nutrients from the dead and decaying matter and grow and reproduce themselves. This type of nutrition where they take nutrients from the dead and decaying matter is called saprophytic nutrition. So this type of nutrition is called saprophytic nutrition. Saprotropic or saprophytic nutrition. Such organisms with saprotrophic mode of nutrition are called saprotrophs. Fungi also grow in pickles, leather and clothes and other articles which are left in hot and humid time. So you might have seen fungi, they tell that don't keep pickle open for a long time, or don't put water on leather clothes and other many things. So what happens is due to the hot and humid climate, the fungi starts growing on them, which later makes them unusable, due to which your parents might have told you. See, it's given here. The fungal spores are generally present in the air. When they land on uh, wet and warm, they germinate and grow. So the fungi require a very wet and warm, warm climate to grow, where they can reproduce. So by keeping most of our things like bread and pickle and leather dry, we won't get fungi over them. Now can you figure out how some organisms live together, share both nutrients and shelter? um, so have you ever heard about, like, before in the ancient times, have you ever heard about the barter system? Like, if I have rice, I if I want rice from you, I give you 1 kg of barley, then you give me rice. Like the same way, they exchange, share both shelter and nutrients, share, so for one another's good, so they are interdependent on each other. This relationship is called symbiosis. So the way they live, this relation between the both plants are called symbiosis. For example, certain fungi live inside the roots of the plants. The plants provide them with nutrients, and fungus in return provides them with. So we can see this in plants. So in most of the plants, fungi lives in the roots. So what does the plant do? The plant provides nutrients, and in return the fungus provides water and certain nutrients. So in organisms called lichens, chlorophyll containing partner, uh, which is an alga and fungus, live together. The fungus provides shelter and water and minerals to alga. In return, the alga prepares food. So have you ever seen lichens? Wait a second, I'll check if a picture of a lichen is here.